I have a question, Stuart. With the cold and dark coming on, and
Can you speak up, please?
okay, can you hear me now?
A little better. Speak up.
Okay, with the cold and the dark coming
I
on,
hear
I
you
really
less now. I don't know what the problem is.
How's this? Can you hear me?
Yeah, maybe I'm going deaf. I don't know, but
with the cold and seasonal dark coming on, I really feel it in my body, and I'd like you to talk about the season of that we're in now on our spiritual life and how that connects with the feeling of just diving in and wanting to pull the covers over my head.
I can't make out what you're saying. I really can't. You have to either speak a little louder or get your microphone a little clearer,
Okay. How's that? Is that any better? No. Sorry.
I want to answer your question, but I have to hear it,
Right. I unmuted, so I don't know what else to do. I was asking about the change of season. In my body, it's cold and dark, and spiritually, the change of season. Can you talk about that?
The change of seasons?
Yeah.
Thank God.
In our spiritual life.
Well, look, nature is perhaps one of the great teachers in the world. Nature effortlessly changes seasons. Nature goes from one cycle to another in a state of complete surrender. If nature is, hurricanes and all this stuff that's going on today has nothing to do with nature. It has to do with the stupidity of people that are, nature is saying, look, I've had enough. You have extracted the very juice from me, the energy. And this is what you have in return. You'll have hurricanes, you'll have this, you'll have that, droughts. And it's only because people don't truly respect nature. It's greed that they're extracting out of nature the very juice. So nature's an amazing teacher. Nature goes through cycles and should teach every one of us how to move from cycles inside ourselves, if we see it that way. And yes, it gets cold, you got to wear jackets, you get flus, you get all kind, stuff happens. But mostly, those kind of things that happen are just our systems cleansing themselves, cleaning out poison that's inside. So I don't know. I've always said it, and I'll say it again. I think one of the greatest teachers we have is nature. I just read a book that's all about this, called Walden, by Thoreau. And it's quite an incredible book where he talks about, how extraordinary nature is as a teacher. And I think we have to respect that. We have to open to it. We have to treat it with humility, with gratitude. It provides everything for us. Food we eat, everything. And and yes, it demands that each season has different demands. But the miracle is that a season moves into another season with such graciousness and such openness that human beings have to learn a lot about that in order to move from cycle to cycle inside themselves. And yeah, look, I don't know what the rest of your question is about, but, we respond to nature. We respond to the summer one way. Winter, every season is different. But every season is really an amazing teacher. And the sheer beauty of it, look, I was born in this tenements of the Bronx, for God's sake. You never saw a tree when I was a kid, you know? And, you know, but there was something very profound in me that responded to the cyclical nature of nature, you know, the way it graciously moves from season to season. If people had the same graciousness, there'd be a lot less bullshit in the world, you know? I really mean it. There's so much bullshit because people manufacture it in their brains and they don't allow themselves to let go. They're holding on to what was. Nature doesn't hold on to what was. It lets go. And it's teaching. I mean, you can't plant blueberries or blackberries, you know, in the winter. They're not going to grow. So it's teaching us about how to provide for ourselves, we have to listen. We have to listen. Now, when it comes to nature, we can't get involved in all of our little, you know, picayune bullshit things that go on inside us. We have a pain in our toe. We have a, you know, this or that. It's cold out. Put on a jacket, you know. It's cold out. So hot, you know. I mean, look, nature needs to rest. Winter is when it rests. And because it rests, it produces in the spring. You know? So I wouldn't, you know, I don't know. What do I know? I mean, all I know is I live every day and open to what life has to teach me. And nature's a very big part of it. And as I say, I mean, I'm not a nature person. I was raised in this 20 years. I lived in the streets of the Bronx, you know, tenements. And if I saw nature, I used to go to the Bronx Zoo, you know, or there was a Petona Park in my neighborhood. We would go up there and play baseball. And, you know, I mean, that's when I saw nature. Other than that, it was all concrete with an occasional tree here and there, you know. But I got to appreciate nature as I got older and begin to realize that what an amazing teacher nature is. Just in the simple act of surrender, letting go. You know, and I've said it a lot, you know, look, I'm not big into politics and dealing with all the greed in the world and all that kind of crap. But I can honestly think that COVID, you know, all the drought, the fires, the hurricanes that are blasting everybody, tornado, it's all nature saying, stop it. Stop the bullshit. Or this is what you're going to have and it's going to get worse. And of course, people are deaf because there's so much greed inside them. They can't see or hear anything except, how can I make more money? And nature's telling us all the time. Look at these hurricanes over in Florida, you know? I mean, what you see in the news is houses being toppled and, you know, the whole state was a flood. Or I'd say half the state. Pat, thank God it didn't happen to you, you know? Elaine, please don't move, okay? I'm asking you for the 50th time. Please sit still. You know, and why is this happening? You know, because people don't listen to nature. Nature's telling us, hey, stop it. I provide you with everything, and you're sucking me dry. Greed, money. You know, and it's the interesting thing about that is, I mean, people make so much money that they couldn't spend it in 1,000 lifetimes. It's so much money that it's just totally absurd. It's theater of the absurd. How much does a human being need to get through the day? And yet, nature, give it half a chance, it'll spring back. I mean, if everyone left New York City within 10 years, it would be covered with plants and trees, and nature would come back. You know, people don't come back. They fetch and complain about all their problems and have a very difficult time regenerating themselves. And our work is about that, regenerating oneself. It's about rebirth. It's about growth. It's about letting go of all the stuff that, we complain about, we kvetch about.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question? I would like to. I mean, look, and ultimately, what is it all about? It's about a rose blossoming, it's about love. That's what this whole thing, we're here to learn. How to be happy, how to fill our hearts with love, how to deal with the impossible and still fill our hearts with love. That's what we're here to learn, because God is love, and that is the answer to all of the problems that exist in the world. But how do you do that? I'll get back to what I talk about in almost every class. You've got to build a system inside that is strong enough to do it. And without that, how do you do it? The tensions, the problems of the world are too powerful for people to do what I'm talking about unless they make a conscious effort to build an inner life. And by that, in our work, it's a chakra system that's strong enough to deal with all of that stuff, plus one's own stuff. Can't subtract one's own stuff from the equation. And God is love. We're here. I mean, every one of you represents to me an opportunity to open my heart. And if there's anyone sitting here that I don't open my heart to, it's my problem. It's not you, it is me. I have to learn how to do it. If I see things in the world, like all the political stuff and economic madness and inflation and this and that, yeah, I can go on ranting and raving about it. But no, how do you make it work? How do you open your heart to situations that are really difficult and impossible? Does anyone else have a question? I have a few announcements to make. One of them is I keep bludgeoning you all with my website, and I've been posting all these, things about Tantra. Plus, it's becoming like it's becoming like a small museum there, with very beautiful art, Tibetan art, mostly some Indian. I suggest going there and reading those things. I work very hard on them. I edit them over and over again to get them as best I can make them. And I think they have something to teach, not only me, but for everyone who attends these classes. So I suggest going there. Also, there's 500 of these videos you can see on my website. You go to Facebook through the website, and Bob Sink made it really beautiful. He really upgraded it in such a good way, So I'd suggest going there. Second thing is that I would like to have a retreat for Rudy Samadhi. And I thought of doing it in Miami where it would be warm, but I don't think it's a good place now. That, Pat has some difficult situations he has to deal with there. But I think I could do it here in the famous city of Stamford, Connecticut. There are a lot of churches here and a lot of centers, and I think I could maybe go around, find somebody that would rent some space for that weekend. And if I don't do it there, I can do it in my apartment. But I hate to say it, in my apartment, I can fit 8 people. So the ones that would sign up first would be the ones that would come. But I want to do this. I think it's important. It's Rudy Samadhi. We have to have some kind of a celebration and deep spiritual practice on that day, or at least the weekend. I'm not sure what day it falls on. But mark that on your calendar. And if you want to come, let me know. Let Jennifer know. You can get in touch with her and let her know. And as I say, there will be one in my apartment here, but I can only fit 8 people. Sorry, I don't have a 4,000 square foot loft anymore. I can't afford it. So I have what I have, and I have Zoom, But you're all welcome, and I'm going to go around seeing if I can find a place. If I know how many people want to come, then I know what kind of place I should rent. So I'm just throwing it out. I hope you all hear it. Raquel, if you come, you can bring cookies. I'm really happy to see you, Raquel. You just really, it's so wonderful. Thank you for coming back. God bless you. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? We have a cookie duel, Jennifer's cookies versus Raquel's cookies. It'll be high noon. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, there'll be a meditation tomorrow evening. And as I always end these classes, I honestly mean this. Every one of you is my teacher. And I'm grateful for your presence here. It makes me work in great depth on myself. And thank you. God bless you all. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night.